Hey everybody, hope this finds you doing well. Please excuse my voice, even though I'm a little under the weather. The show must go on. As you can see, Bitcoin is currently trading and trying to get to that $80,000 level. We'll see if we'll actually get there and stay above 80,000. We know that we're currently in a bear market, so anything can happen. There's going to be volatility. We can have some fake pumps in between now and potentially the end of the year, particularly since it's a midterm year. So we still don't know exactly what's going to happen. A lot of people believe this year is different. So far, that hasn't been the case. We are definitely in a bear market, so we're waiting to see whether or not Bitcoin will be able to get back towards 100,000 either sometime this year, it could be sometime next year, but obviously we're looking at patterns. When we see here, this was the 2022 bear market, and you can see this was around February, March, April, May, June, July, and you can see that we continue to go all the way down until November and December of 2022. Now we're in 2026, May of 2026. So obviously, we still potentially could have a ways to go before we hit the bottom. We may have already hit the bottom. A lot of people believe that 60,000 was the bottom. So it remains to be seen. But definitely just keep in mind that that's a possibility that we could potentially go lower, or at least get back to these levels of 60,000, 70,000 or so before we start to make some type of move up. And eventually, most likely, Bitcoin over time does go up. That's why we continue to invest in it and learn as much as we can about this hard asset. If we go to the Bitcoin monthly returns, you can see that we finished the month of April in the positive. So this is 2 consecutive months of positive return. You can see after we started off pretty rocky in January and February, having double digit negative returns. So we're starting off May pretty well, but we're going to see what happens and what materializes for the remainder of the year. There's still a lot of information out there that could change the trajectory of Bitcoin, particularly from the macroeconomic environment, from geopolitics. There's a lot of things that can move the market. We also know that there's legislation that's still on the table that's being edited and reviewed regarding the Clarity Act. We also know that this is a midterm year in the United States, so there could be some change in the direction of which way Congress could go. So we still have a lot of uncertainty, I should say, with regards to what could happen for the rest of the year. So obviously, we'll have to continue to just move along with Bitcoin and move along with what's happening and continue to just make sure we stay posted on what is going on in the overall space. Over the past week, one of the biggest events is in at least in the world of Bitcoin is the Bitcoin conference. They had their major annual conference in the United States in Vegas over the past week, and you can see some of the speakers that spoke at Bitcoin conference, and this was the first time that we had an active SEC chair actually attend the Bitcoin conference. So that was a big deal. So some of the takeaways from the conference, Saylor, of course, who is the founder and chairman of strategy, he said Bitcoin is money, everything else is credit. So what does he mean by that? And basically what he's essentially saying is that if you hold dollars, if you hold fiat currency, what you're really holding is credit. You're holding a promise from a government, from a central bank, that the piece of paper on that number in the back of in your bank account is worth something. But if you hold Bitcoin, you hold the asset itself. There's no counterparty. There's no more printing of it. Nobody can devalue it. It just exists on the blockchain, and there's only going to ever be 21 million of them, and that's the whole point. So Bitcoin can be could be the global reserve currency because, for one, it can be used anywhere around the world with an internet connection. There's no centralized authority that controls it, and so everything else can be looked at as credit. Also, Paul Atkins, who is the acting SEC chair, he said the end of regulation by enforcement back in the day, Bitcoin was basically under pressure, not only Bitcoin, but a lot of cryptocurrency projects and blockchain projects where they were being enforced upon without actual rules and clarity. That's why this Clarity Act is so important, because we need to have a better understanding of what rules to follow. And so more technology companies, particularly blockchain technology companies, would be willing to come to the US and build these type of products, especially since we're seeing that more and more people are using blockchain technology are buying Bitcoin, buying other cryptocurrencies. And so we know that digital assets are the future, and we need to have an understanding of what is the best way to go about moving and transacting, not only in your home country, but also around the world. Cynthia Loomis also spoke at the conference. She is a U.S. senator who's been well known for being a Bitcoin proponent. But she says the strategic Bitcoin reserve is the only tool I see that can help people in my generation right the wrongs that we did to our younger generations and generations to follow with respect to our debt and fiscal mismanagement. So she acknowledges that there was a lot of mismanagement when it comes to the handling of fiscal policy, monetary policy, and Bitcoin could be the only way to fix those wrongs. These are just a few of the major points that were made at the Bitcoin conference. There were several speakers, tens of thousands of people in attendance. And so it's just one place that a lot of Bitcoiners, as well as other people who are involved in blockchain technology, go to interact and network and learn a little bit more about the space and the progression that the space is continuing to see throughout these years. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean you need to go out and make any decisions with regards to Bitcoin. And as we always say, make sure you do your own due diligence, make sure you understand what you're investing in, and invest based on your own financial situation and your own long-term goals. But the people who are showing up to this conversation are telling you something. So it's definitely something that you want to keep in mind. And here we believe that it's important to pay attention. So make sure to check us out on X as well as on Instagram. We are there basically every day. And of course, right here on YouTube. We thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a great start to your week and take care. Bye bye.